Formula 1 returns stateside for the US Grand Prix, and both Haas drivers play a considerable amount of laps in practice to get everything right in qualifying for the home crowd. BMW also brings some small power unit upgrades for the American team in hopes that they can take back 7th from Toro Rosso in the Constructors, as they lost it at the previous race to the Italian team at Japan. Renault have now confirmed both drivers for next season. However, they are waiting until pre-season testing to reveal their driver lineup, and this led many in the paddock to believe that Lewis Hamilton may in fact be one of their drivers for next season. After a few impressive showings in the past few races, Force India secured backing for next season, and this will secure their place on the grid for 2017. Taking a look at the qualifying grid for the US Grand Prix, and Daniel Kvyat will take pole position, with Max Verstappen a very impressive second for Toro Rosso. Will Stevens will start third for the second race in a row, with Fernando Alonso the lead Mercedes just behind in P4. Lewis Hamilton will start lead of the Ferraris in 5th, with Rio Haryanto in a second of the McLarens starting in 6th. Jean-Eric Vergne could only manage 7th on the grid, with Sebastian Buemi starting as the lead Williams driver and only managing 8th on the grid. 9th would go to Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes, and rounding off the top 10 will be 5-time world champion Sebastian Vettel. Alex Rossi will start just outside the top 10 for his home race, with championship leader Josh Cherry all the way down in P12 in the Williams. Romain Grosjean is second of the Haas's, Sandwich is the championship leader in 13th, with Nico Hülkenberg the leader of the Renaults in 14th. Carlos Sainz will start 15th for the second race in a row, with Sergio Perez just scraping through to Q2 in 16th. Adrian Sutil will put in a very impressive lap to line up in 17th for Sauber, with Pascal Wehrlein in 18th, Esteban Ocon in 19th, Daniel Ricciardo could have managed 20th on the grid, with Lance Stroll in 21st, and Marcus Ericsson for Sauber starting at the back of the grid. Hey guys, Tara here, welcome back to UniONE, this time in round 17 for Season 3, the US Grand Prix. If you did miss the race last time out, round 16 at Japan, definitely do go and check that one out before watching this race. Some very, very important championship drama happened in that race, so definitely need to go and check that out before this race. Now looking to this race, what can Max Verstappen do from starting from second on the grid? And it's his best ever qualifying in Formula 1. Going to go one step further and take victory, meaning he's already taken a second place back at Spain, back at round 5 of the season. We've seen last season he was going pretty well here in the Red Bull before he got taken out by a front wingless Nico Rosberg. So now, can Verstappen take victory in the States? You know, what can we do starting from all the way down in P12, sandwiched between the two Haas's? I mean, it's not where we wanted to be. Really not where it needs to be. Buemi only managing P8 though, so it's not all lost. Now cutting a bit further on now, come back up to the grid now. We're right up behind Alex Rossi. Pretty much showing that we need to get past Alex Rossi on the start. Of course, Rossi in the Haas, the Williams B team. Of course, it's also Rossi's home race, so he needs to let us past for the team. But because it's his home race, I'm pretty sure he's not going to. Now coming to the 5 red lights for the start of the US Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. Pretty good. Vettel's got a terrible start in front of us. Now we get past the 5-time world champion easy, like he's pretty much standing still there off the start. Now coming up into turn 1, the elevated turn 1, now we've got Nico Hülkenberg get past Vettel as well. Now coming up into turn 1, everyone feeds away gingerly there through turn 1. There's contact 1, Mercedes is spun, and there's a huge pile up there along the track. Pretty much 20 cars everyone have to stop behind, and we just about managed to get going again. And then we get going there, we made a few positions out of that. And we get going once again. Just safety car deployed, not surprised really. There's pretty much 15, 16 of the cars there just had to stop right behind that queue. I think it was Fernando Alonso get caught there by spinning off one of the McLarens, so it looked like. So nightmare start to the race there for Fernando Alonso. Taking a look at replay of what happens. Alonso gets a pretty good start there, trying to go up the inside there. Max Verstappen coming into turn 1. He just tries to get away with this side, just hasn't gone off his car and takes the tight line. And then coming out, he just makes contact there with one of the McLarens and then spins. And then completely collects our teammate Sebastian Buemi. So a rare mistake there from Fernando Alonso. It's not something you see too often from the Spaniard. Now he gets back going again, thankfully. And taking a look at replay now of all the massive cluster of cars that have to stop. So taking a ball from Pascal Wehrlein. Finally to get a pretty decent start there alongside the Force India and then the style of Adrian Sutil. Now coming up into turn 1, it's got Sutil there just on his right there. Now coming into turn 1, Just thinking very gingy there through turn one of the Ferraris and one of the Hasses, and everyone just has to stop there. Then Rudd actually gets a bit of a hit there from behind for one of the Force Indias. Eventually everyone does manage to get out of the game, but now Buemi has to come into the pits at the end of the first lap. See there, lost a lot of his front wing from that contact there with Fernando Alonso, so now what tyres is Buemi going to go on to? This has pretty much ruined his race, you'd have to say. I was having to pit in the first lap, but the safety car will take away some of the pain because he'll be right at the back of the field, and I see there Williams changing his front wing. I think he's gone to a set of medium tyres, was that? I can't quite see from that angle. Yes, it is a set of medium tyres there for Sebastian Buemi. What about Fernando Alonso with the front wing change as well? Alonso there on soft tyres. So Alonso definitely has to do another stop in this race. Is Sebastian Buemi trying to go to the end of the race on the set of medium tyres? I mean, it makes sense, seeming he's pretty much at the back of the grid. Now so we've got Daniel Kvyat in the lead of the Grand Prix. Max Verstappen still holding on there in second. We've got Will Stevens in the McLaren in third, having a great start this race again, and then Johnny Verne in fourth. So Verne had a great start there to make up 3 positions, now get up into fourth. Then I think we've got the second of the McLarens of Rio Haryanto there, currently in P5. Then we should think that Valtteri Bottas behind there in P6, so Bottas, once again, now the lead of the Ferraris. Then there's ourselves there in 7th in the Williams. Then we've got just behind us, we have, is that one of the Hasses, I think that is? It's not necessarily one of them, we got one of the Ferraris behind as well. Then we have the second of the Toro Rossos of Carlos Sainz. Then we have the second of the Hasses, you can just see there from the front wing. And behind them, we've got one of the Renaults, Nico Hülkenberg. Then we actually have the second Ferrari then we have Sebastian Vettel after his nightmare start, all the way down in the mid-teens. Followed then by one of the Manners, which must be Pascal Wehrlein, I would have thought. Then one of the Force Indias, just behind there. Then the second of the Manners of Lance Stroll. And then Daniel Ricciardo, who hasn't really managed to make anything out at the start. Then we have the 2 Saubers of Adrian Sutil, Marcus Ericsson. Then the second of the Force Indias. And then rounding off the back of the grid, it looks like our teammate Sebastian Buemi in the Williams there. And then right at the back of the grid, you've got Fernando Alonso in the Mercedes. Now cutting all the way onto the end of lap 4. 3 laps of safety car. I mean, the Chewies go from one extreme to the other. Go from not giving us a safety car at Malaysia to leaving it out for a lot longer than it should have been here. You'd say maybe they're just trying to cover themselves off after a lot of the recent criticism that me and a lot of the paddock have given the Chewies over some questionable decisions this season. Now coming back to green flag running, Daniel Kvyat now going to lead us to the green flag. You see they're coming around the final corner, you're already pulling a bit of a gap there to Max Verstappen after only 1 corner. Daniel Kvyat leading the Grand Prix, now Max Verstappen already starting to fall away there in P2, trying to keep up with the young Russian now. Then we've got Johnny Verne making a move up now into P3, getting past Will Stevens there on the start, so Verne they're catching Stevens napping, and Red Bull doing exactly what they need to do. They want to keep their slim championship hopes alive. And after this race, they need to outscore Williams by 26 points at least. I mean, they run completely wide there off of the track, just about getting it back on again. And now trying to come through the second, we go purple there through the first sector, but that's not surprising. It's the first time we've actually gone through the first sector at racing speeds, so everyone will be going purple here through the first sector. Now then, we're just trying to keep with the back of Valtteri Bottas. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of the back of Valtteri Bottas in the past few races. I mean, especially for Malaysia, we've still got quite a bit of the time there behind him, and at Japan as well. Now hopefully we can try and catch up to the back of the Finn, try and make an easy move past him, try and get up to P6, whilst defending, of course, from Lewis Hamilton in the lead of the Ferraris behind. Now we've got Will Stevens getting in solution now on the back of the Red Bull. Is Stevens getting off the back of Verne trying to make a move? No, but Haryanto's actually trying to make a move there on the back of Will Stevens. So Stevens got a car issue because Haryanto getting in solution on the back of Stevens, trying to make a move on him. And well, if Haryanto is the faster of the 2 drivers, seeming that he's not receiving neither driver are in the championship fight, then might as well switch them around, try and score 6th in the constructors. Because Haryanto does look to be the faster of the drivers from Will Stevens, but again, they're in a world of their own, so what's the point of switching them, because it wouldn't really make any difference really at this point in the race. Now coming through the final sector, and one of the McLarens actually comes into the pits there. Which McLaren's that? I think is that Stevens? Is that Will Stevens coming in for a very early pit stop? I think it is Will Stevens. Indeed it is there. Will Stevens coming in for a very early pit stop. I mean, that's one way to get Stevens out of the way. Rio Haryanto bringing him for a very early pit stop. Now what tyres is Stevens going to go on to? They're going on to a set of, I can't see from this camera angle, I think it might be a set of soft tyres, and one of the Ferraris of that, is that Lewis Hamilton? So Hamilton's coming in as well for a set of soft tyres, so Hamilton and Stevens definitely doing a 2-stop whatever tyres they've gone on to. Now they're going to rejoin right at the back of the field. Now come back to us now, we're up into P6 of course with Stevens pitting, and Hamilton was behind us anyway, so now we've got Carlos Sainz on soft tyres on the Toro Rosso now up into P7. Now we're going to join right behind this queue of cars now. Johnny Verne really starting to cause the queue of cars now. I mean, he may have won the previous race at Japan, but he really doesn't look to have the pace so far in this race. Now again, right up behind Valtteri Bottas now, going down the back straight. Of course, USA, the Williams have done here pretty well since 2013. I'm trying to get in the slipstream now on the back of Valtteri Bottas. Are we getting enough to try and make a move on him? Getting right in the slipstream. Then Bottas will be slipstreaming the car in front as well. Now got Hamilton trying to go for a move now up the inside. Trying to Vergne now at the end of the straight. Hamilton's there on the inside line. Vergne runs out wide. And there's contact between Bottas and Vergne. There's spun. We have to slam on the brakes there to avoid contact. Now we're going to lose a whole heap of positions here. We've got 3 cars now trying to go past us, trying to hold it now right around the outside of the runner of Nico Hülkenberg on the racing line. You just hold it around the outside of the German, and we just hold it around the outside of Nico Hülkenberg. No, got Vettel trying to go right around the outside now. Obviously on Eric Vergne on the inside line, but Vettel holds it around the outside there on the racing line, which now turns to the inside for this long sweeping right-hander, pretty much the reverse of Turkey, and Vettel there forces Vergne out wide and moves up ahead of the Frenchman. I mean, Vettel, he may have not defended his championship, but he's definitely putting up a fight in this race. And now we're going now down to P7 now, trying to chase down Carlos Sainz, and then Lewis Hamilton behind. Now coming up now into turn 1, can try and make a move up the inside of the Spaniard, but just a bit too far back from Carlos Sainz to try and make a move. Now coming down turn 2, we just stick behind Carlos Sainz to try and keep moving through the S section, because once again, much like at Japan, if you catch someone in the S section, you just can't make a move on them. There's no way you can make a move. Well, saying that, we're going to try and make a move to the inside there of Carlos Sainz coming through the S section. Made the move there up the inside of the Spaniard through the S section. That's a really crucial move for us there, because we're on super soft tyres compared to Carlos Sainz there on the soft tyres. And behind us now we're trying to chase down Alex Rossi in the Haas. He's had a great start to this race, of course, avoiding all the turn 1 madness, and finds himself now in a very good position ahead of us, trying to chase down Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes. Now try and get a slipstream now on the back of Alex Rossi. Of course, Rossi was self-slipstream on the back of Valtteri Bottas, so of course Rossi with the BMW power unit, it's going to be pretty tough to catch him in a straight line. Now coming to the end of the straight, we just have to stay behind Valtteri Bottas, and then we've got one of the runners, Hülkenberg there, trying to make a move on the back of one of the Toro Rossos. So Renault looked to have found some speed for this race, must be running a lower drag setup. And talking of low drag setups, we've got the 2 Manners lying astern just behind Nico Hülkenberg, holding up the Force Indies and the Saubers still. And where they are, I think they might be in the tail end of the points, or just outside the points positions from where they currently are. So if Manor can take some more points, because Sauber with Adrian Sutil finishing 11th, getting 2 points for the team at the previous race, going to try to put Manor under pressure, and Manor still have a good points margin over Sauber, but still that's something that could easily be caught in the past few races if Sauber can get their act together with Adrian Sutil really starting to outperform what that car really is capable of. Now gaining in the slipstream now on DRS now on the back of Alex Rossi coming up to turn 1. I'll be close enough to try and make a move this time on the American. Try and make a move there, we're right behind him, but we're just too far back to try and make a move there on the back of the American. We'll take a wide line into turn 1 there, try and get the power down earlier. Try and make a move through the S section like we did on Carlos Sainz on the previous lap. Now coming through the S section now to try and stick behind Alex Rossi there, because definitely closer, we run out wide there in the dirty air, we cut the corner slightly, just getting affected by the dirty air, just not taking the lines, not getting the downforce that we want here. Of course, because we are on lap 8 of the race, albeit only the fourth lap of racing. So the tyres are still starting to go off now, despite us having 4 laps behind the safety car. The super soft tyres, they're okay tyre. You have to use them you can't get away with not using them in this race. Well, you can. I mean, I think there might be a few drivers trying to do a one-stop if you go softs and mediums, or mediums and soft. Now gaining in the DRS now on the back of Alex Rossi, because Rossi still have DRS on the back of Valtteri Bottas. Now coming down in the straight, trying to make a move on the back of Alex Rossi. Now going to pull to the inside of Alex Rossi, coming into the brakes and trying to make a move on the inside there. Keep it side by side there with the American. Now Rossi can try and hold it up the inside line, is he? No, he doesn't put up a fight there. Pretty much the wise decision there from Alex Rossi. Now hopefully for Rossi, he must be planning to try and stick with us in our slipstream now, as we try and catch now onto the back of Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes. Of course, Bottas once again just slowly starting to lose touch to the cars in front, and just finds himself in a world of his own once again. Of course, it's not going to be long now until it's time for the first stops for all the super soft runners. The Master Verstappen there carries on for another lap, and now Bottas is going to come in now for his first stop of the race. And are we going to follow him in behind? I think we are. Yeah, we follow Bottas in there to make our first stops as well. So now what tyre is Valtteri Bottas going to go on to? Bottas there going on to a set of, I couldn't quite see. We're going to another set of super soft tyres, so we're getting very aggressive in this race. Going super soft, and then soft at the end of the race. It looks like Valtteri Bottas has also gone on to another set of the super soft tyres as well. Now we're going to exit the pit lane. The question is, whereabouts are we going to exit? Whereabouts is Lewis Hamilton and all the cars that stopped earlier going to be around us? Now there go the 2 McLarens into turn 1. Now as we come into turn 1, isn't going to meet anyone right behind us. It doesn't look like there's anyone near us. And now we're coming out of the pits, now we're in P17, but we're ahead of Sebastian Vettel, who's already made a pit stop. We're going to a set of soft tyres. So me and Bottas have overcut Sebastian Vettel, despite us being stuck behind Alex Rossi and all that contact with John Van slowed us down behind as well. So now me and Bottas should easily pull away from Sebastian Vettel, because Vettel on softer tyres, they've already done more laps than me and Bottas on super soft tyres. So now, but Bottas, crucially, doesn't have DRS off of the car in front, so now we'll have DRS off of Bottas. Now can we try and make a move on Valtteri Bottas? You know, the Mercedes have improved their engines, but still nothing compared to the BMW power unit. Now gaining in the DRS now, right on the back now, Valtteri Bottas going to pull to the inside of him, and now looking further up front. You've got Sebastian Buemi trying to make a move now on one of the Force Indies, now trying to fight his way back through the field. Now got the Force India trying to fight his way back up the inside though, and try and keep it side by side now with Sebastian Buemi. Buemi has the outside line, which will then turn to the inside. This left-hander, Buemi makes his move there, past the Force India, which looks like it's Sergio Perez. So now Perez has to worry about defending now from Fernando Alonso, because this is Alonso and Buemi still in the race of their own. And Buemi's still ahead of Fernando Alonso, and Alonso on the faster tyres, getting caught up right behind the back now of Sergio Perez in the Force India. You see the Force India, they've secured backing for next season, so they will be on the grid. And despite scoring 3 podiums so far this season, they really just don't have the pace to compete on a regular basis. Now Fernando Alonso gaining in a now on the back of the Force India, coming over to turn 1. Is he close to trying to make a move? No, because Perez still had DRS just about off the back of Sebastian Buemi. And we've got Daniel Kvyat just behind as well. Now we've got one of the Red Bulls, one of the Toro Rossos going through as well on a set of medium tyres. So that Toro Rosso must be looking to go to the end of the race on their set of tyres. And now we're right up behind Will Stevens now. We've passed Valtteri Bottas. Now going right behind Stevens. Stevens caught right up behind the back of one of the Saubers. This is just slowing us down so much. The Saubers have literally no downforce on their cars. Also, they're going so slow here. Through this first sector, we're diving all over the back of Will Stevens, but there's nowhere we can make a move on our fellow Brit. Now coming up into the hairpin, Stevens going to try and go for a move on the Sauber. No, he isn't. We have to stick behind Will Stevens for a bit longer. But now Stevens should have DRS and making an easy move here on the back of Sauber, because Sauber still have the Ferrari power unit. But Stevens with solution now on the back of the Sauber, trying to pull to the inside now of Will Stevens, and Stevens actually going to get a double solution pin. Now Stevens going to try and pull to the inside. Going to go 3 wide with the Sauber and Will Stevens. Now coming into braking zone, easily get past the Sauber there. Marcus Ericsson going to try and make a move there up the inside of Will Stevens. Stevens there on soft tyres, so should be able to make an easy move there on our fellow Brit. But Stevens now can try and fight it back up the inside. And keep it Sauber now going to drive right around the outside. We made the move past Will Stevens, and now hopefully we can try and pull away from our fellow Brit, and hopefully Stevens can now try and hold up the Ferrari and Bottas behind as well. Now we can try and chase down the Toro Rosso in front. Now we've got Rio Haryanto on super soft tyres, now trying to catch now to the back of Fernando Alonso, who actually managed to get past the Force Indies. Now we've got Daniel Kvyat turn to try and get past Sergio Perez now in a straight line. Now Kvyat getting in a section, going to pull to the inside of Sergio Perez, now coming into turn 1, side by side with the Russian and with the Mexican driver. Now Kvyat has the inside line. Perez actually runs out wide there, so that actually allows Haryanto to get through. So Perez, in the space of one straight, just loses 2 positions to 2 cars, which we would say are slower in a straight line. Now cutting midway through lap 11, we go purple there through the second sector. Now caught right onto the back now of Max Verstappen in the Toro Rosso. Cut Verstappen there on medium tyres, looking to get in the Grand Prix. So Verstappen looking to one-stop this race. I mean, it could work out if he doesn't lose enough time. I mean, he of course qualified in second, so he does like to have some good pace in this race. And now we're right up behind the Dutchman now as we come through the final corners. We can try and make a move here, come in the final corner, fake a move there to the inside. We just weren't close enough to make anything of it. Now coming around the final corner, now we are going to have DRS now on the back of Max Verstappen, who also has DRS off the back of Sergio Perez. We just got so much more speed in our BMW power unit compared to the Renault engine in the back of the Toro Rosso. Now try and make a move to the inside of Max Verstappen coming into turn 1. Verstappen going to run out wide once again, just like Sergio Perez did on the previous lap, and loses quite a bit of time there. So now we have to try and chase down Sergio Perez in the Force India. Well, Sergio Perez currently in the points positions there in P12. I'd imagine also doing a one-stop in this race on lap 12, so he hasn't come in for his first stop yet. So Perez is definitely a one-stop in this race. We're trying to make a move on the inside of Sergio Perez, are we? But Perez there just shuts the door. And Perez here is giving me some good yardstick here. But I need to Perez a yardstick. So he's done 12 laps on soft tyres from the start of the race, which means we can easily go on a set of soft tyres to the end of the race on our next stop. And now coming up into the head, we just have to stick behind Sergio Perez for a bit longer once again. And now we should easily have DRS. With this even downforce, we just see even before DRS is pulling to the inside now of Sergio Perez in the Force India. We're going to make a move to the inside now. Well, the Force India will make a move now up into P12, back into the points positions. And now we can try and chase down Daniel Kvyat, who's currently in 11th, still behind that train of cars with Fernando Alonso and our teammate Sebastian Buemi. Now cutting a bit further on, we've got now one of the Saubers trying to make a move to the inside now. Of one of the Manners now coming up into the end of the back straight. And this is Adrian Sutter trying to make a move up the inside there of Lance Stroll. And he makes a move stick there on the young Canadian. I mean, I don't know what Sauber found in these past few races. I don't know what Adrian Sutter had for breakfast, but he just found so much pace in that Sauber for what he's just really overperforming it in his past few races. But now has Adrian Sutter got enough straight line speed to defend from Lance Stroll. Now going through the final stage, you see Sauber there of Sutter actually starting to pull away. So maybe Sutter has managed to find must have found some setup that works around this circuit. But now it's Lance Stroll close enough to make a move. Never mind, they're both coming into the pits. And now that frees up Fernando Alonso, who has now cleared our teammate Sebastian Buemi. Has got Rio Haryanto and Daniel Kvyat from company just behind as well. They're coming in straight line. Is Haryanto close enough to try and make a move? Back to Sebastian Buemi, unlikely. Honda power versus BMW power. Now coming down into turn 1, Sebastian Buemi easily keeps ahead there of Rio Haryanto. Now cutting onto lap 15. So he's now starting to get a bit cloudy now, a bit overcast. But is there possibly a chance of rain to come for the end of this race? But now we're right onto the back now of Daniel Kvyat, as Will Stevens is still behind us now for what is currently P5. So Stevens still holding on to a very good position at this point in the race. Now we've got Daniel Kvyat gaining in slipstream now on the back of Rio Haryanto. Says going to make a move to the inside of Rio Haryanto, now coming down to the end of the straight. He's going to try and make it inside of Buemi. Buemi defends there to the inside. Now he's side by side with Rio Haryanto and Daniel Kvyat. Kvyat makes a move there on Rio Haryanto. Because Kvyat there, I think he's on soft tyres. Yeah, Kvyat's there on soft tyres compared to Haryanto and ourselves on super soft tyres. So maybe Haryanto's tyres are starting to go off because Haryanto having to push that McLaren into his absolute limits to try and get any good results out of it. So he's having to use up his tyres, imagine a bit more than ideally he'd want to. And you can see Haryanto already starting to lose time there on the back of Daniel Kvyat in front. So now starting to get right to the back now of our teammate Sebastian Buemi. Now coming up to the final corner, Haryanto there comes into the pits now to make what should be his final stop of the race. And now we've got Daniel Kvyat getting in now with DRS right on the back now of Sebastian Buemi. Getting to his machine, he's going to try and make a move. He's going to make a move to the inside of Sebastian Buemi. It's not something you see too often. A Red Bull trying to make a move on Sebastian Buemi straight line. Buemi going to run out wide just like everyone else has in the previous overtakes here. We're going to side by side with us, our team Sebastian Buemi. We managed to make a move there on Sebastian Buemi as well. So Buemi just lost 2 positions in one corner. This seems we can't hold it side by side around that corner. It seems first of all we've seen Matt Verstappen run out wide, then Perez, and now our teammate Sebastian Buemi ran out wide as well. So now we have to try and chase down Daniel Kvyat for what is currently the lead of the Grand Prix. You see there, a complete rainbow strategy of tyres. You see they've got Kvyat there on the soft tyres, ourselves on super softs, and Buemi on the hardest compound there, mediums. See there, we're now coming to the pits now at the end of this lap, try and cover off the overcut there that Rio Haryanto will have stopping on the end of this lap. You see there, Daniel Kvyat already starting to pull away into the distance, despite us having a obvious straight line speed advantage. And Williams now is trying to defend now from Sebastian Buemi, now coming down the straight. See really the cloud breeze starting coming. His engine failure from in front. So Daniel Kvyat's out of the Grand Prix. His engine's gone. Daniel Kvyat out of the Grand Prix. That's pretty much Red Bull's. That must be Red Bull's championship hopes over now. Now cutting on to the end of that now. End of that now. The VSC has ended. So only a very short VSC. Now we're coming into the pits now to make our final stop to go into a set of soft tyres. Sebastian Buemi of course has to carry on now as he was the driver behind us. Now we're coming in for our final stop now to go into a set of soft tyres to take us to the end of the Grand Prix. And I'd imagine that's what Rio Haryanto came in for on the previous lap as well. So now changing onto the soft tyres. Good pit stop there from Williams because we're the only ones in the pit lane and the only one to give us good stops when there's no one else in the pit lane. And the question is, whereabouts are we going to rejoin? Of course, because the VSC would help us, so we wouldn't have lost that much time with the undercut that Rio Haryanto had. But Haryanto, of course, had half a lap of undercut, and of course Haryanto were ahead of us anyway. Now coming back out on track now, has Haryanto cleared us? Haryanto there has cleared us, so now we have to try and chase down the Indonesian driver once again, but crucially, we get out in front of the fight between Adrian Sutil and the Sauber of Lawrence Stroll. Now cutting a bit further on, our teammate now comes into pits on lap 18, so Buemi there leaving it a few laps longer now to come in for his final stop now to go into a set. What tyres is Buemi going on to? So Buemi going into a set of soft tyres, so containers medium tyres to the end of the Grand Prix. I don't think you could do 28 laps on a set of tyres, unlike Singapore where Bottas did the entirety of the race on the set of soft tyres. So now where's Buemi going to come in front of us? Because we've had a few laps undercut there on Sebastian Buemi. He's come out behind us there. Sweden coming out into turn 1 now. Buemi going to come out side by side with one of the Hasses. He's going to drive it up the inside there of the Haas coming into turn 1 and keep it side by side there with the Haas, and he just manages to clear them. And that's crucial for his race as well. Of course, we've seen this in a few previous races. He's come out just behind the car that we as ideally wanted to get in front of. Now Buemi's come out behind us there in P8, and we're currently in P7 trying to chase down Rio Haryanto and the McLaren for what is currently P6 in the Grand Prix. Of course, we've got a few cars in front of us there, one of the Renaults and the other Haas as well. So I don't know if they have to make another stop in this race, but if they don't, they're in a very good position now to try and take some good points. Of course, I think that might be Alex Rossi in the lead of the Hasses. taking a good result in his home race, because last season in the Manor, because the Manor was pretty much nowhere all season. Now can Rossi try and take a good result in front of the home crowd. Now got Nico Hulkenberg trying to gain right solution now on the back of Alex Rossi. They try to make a move there to the inside. So Renault really have found some straight line speed. Well, Hulkenberg has at least anyway. Daniel Ricciardo has just pretty much been nowhere in this race. But now Hulkenberg in a Renault getting on the back of Alex Rossi with the BMW power unit. Seen Hulkenberg has been really aggressive in this race. I mean, Renault have confirmed both their drivers for next season. So Hulkenberg really just trying to outperform what that Renault's capable of. So is Hulkenberg not one of Renault's drivers for next season? Is this way Hulkenberg's way trying to advertise himself to other teams for next season, outperforming a car and having it really where it shouldn't be this far up the order? I mean, we don't know. We have to see what next season holds for all the drivers. Now got Haryanto gaining in the Sluice team on the back now of Nico Hulkenberg. So is Haryanto close enough to make a move on the back of Hulkenberg? With Hulkenberg in the straight line, starting to pull away from Alex Rossi. And also from Maria Haryanto as well. Now coming into turn 1, we have all line and stern with Rossi, Hulkenberg, us, Haryanto, then ourselves just behind. Of course, the more we fight, the more we're just going to get held up. And the more this is going to allow Sebastian Buemi to catch you behind. See, Buemi is about 2 or 3 seconds there behind us. But of course, the more we're stuck behind the Haas and the Renault, the more time Buemi's just going to gain us. I mean, he's got 8 laps of the race yet to try and catch us. And if we keep being stuck behind the Haas and the Renault at this rate, Buemi will easily catch us, probably within the next 2, 3, 4 laps of the race, and then he will be right up behind us. I mean, we have got a 20-point lead on Sebastian Buemi, but still, I don't want it just really to score any points over us. And now coming down the back straight once again, we're going to have DRS now on the back of Ria Haryanto. But again, Haryanto will have DRS on the back of Nico Hulkenberg, who has DRS on the back of Rossi, so it was a complete DRS chain once again. Now Hulkenberg can try to move to the inside of Alex Rossi, coming into the braking zone. Can Hulkenberg hold it up the inside line and can force Rossi out wide? Rossi's going to try and hold it up the inside line, is he? No, he gets a bad line, but he can keep it side by side with Nico Hulkenberg and the Renault. Can the Renault hold it right around the outside of Alex Rossi? You get a brake check there by Ria Haryanto there. They were able to slow up there mid-corner, but Hulkenberg managed to make the move there on Alex Rossi. Now we're right up behind the rear diffuser of Ria Haryanto. If any closer, I think we made contact there with the back of him if we're any closer. And we've run out a bit wide, they're getting a bit of understeer there through the long right-hander, which is pretty much the reverse of Turkey. And now can Rossi try and gain that on the back of Nico Hulkenberg? We know the Haas has straight line speed. It looks like Hulkenberg is actually starting to pull away there from Rossi, so does Rossi have an issue? Does Rossi have a car issue? I mean, it's not won't be uncommon. We're trying to make a move to the inside of Haryanto there, fake a move there to the inside, but just not close enough. In Rossi there, they're looking to be slowing down, so it's not the first problem we've seen Haas have problems with their power unit this season. Of course, it's a BMW power unit. I mean, all the power unit failures so far have happened on the Haas, and seeing Sebastian Buemi just gaining hand over fist on the back of us there, as we're stuck behind the battling Haas of Rossi, and then still behind the Renault Hulkenberg as well. And then we've got the fight of all the midfield being currently led by Adrian Sutter, who I think is still in a points position as it stands. But now going through the S section, we've actually lost a bit of time there on the back of Ria Haryanto, who's now right up behind the back of Alex Rossi. And now we've got the proximity of Sebastian Buemi now has finally caught us up. So only took Buemi 1 lap, and now he's caught right at the back. So it just shows how much time we're losing here behind Ria Haryanto and the 2 cars in front. So now Haryanto once again getting in the solution, and now Rossi's going to try and make a move back up the inside now of Nico Hulkenberg coming onto the braking zone, trying to make a copycat move. Hulkenberg did 2 on the previous lap. Hulkenberg trying to hold it on the inside line, is he? Rossi gives him the room there on the inside, trying to hold it right around the outside. Hulkenberg trying to hold it up the inside line. Can you hold it there up the inside, then turn to the outside, but on the racing line? Can Rossi squeeze out Nico Hulkenberg? And he just does once again. So Rossi through stadium sector there. I bet the crowd love that overtaking there through the stadium sector. And now Rossi moves back up into what's currently P4 in this race. So I've no idea who the top 3 even are at this point. They're just completely bolted away into the distance. Now got Sebastian Buemi there right up behind us now, coming around the final corner. Still gaining a lot on the braking on the back of Ria Haryanto, but we just can't do anything with it. So on the traction, it all just pretty much yo-yos itself, evens itself back out once again. And coming up into tail 1, close enough to the back of Ria Haryanto, trying to make a move up the inside, but once again we're just a bit too far back from Ria Haryanto to make a move on the inside. We get a good exit there from turn 1, but we just can't do anything with it once again. That McLaren just has so much better downforce than this Williams. They just has to stay behind the Indonesian driver once again through the S section. And let's see, Rossi now is starting to pull away from Hulkenberg, so maybe Hulkenberg's pretty much used up all his rich mix, used everything he had to try and get ahead of Rossi. But then Rossi can just turn his engine back up as well, and BMW compared to Renault, that's a fight that BMW is pretty much always going to win. And coming up to the end of the S section once again, Sebastian Buemi is now right up behind us now. Going down the back straight, Harrington trying to make a move. Harrington there locks up, loses time there, gets a terrible exit out of the corner. We're going to try and make a move now to the inside of Harrington, going side by side now with the Indonesian driver. Now this is that chance that we needed. But Sideways gaining an oxygen, they're going to make it 3 wide with me, Buemi and Harrington. That's going to be a drag race now, down to the end of the straight. He's going to be the last delay breaks now. Buemi there up the inside, going to outbreak me and Harrington. Harrington can try to break us right around our outside as well. And Buemi there makes up 2 positions in 1 move. Great overtake there from Sebastian Buemi. That's exactly what he needs to do, exactly what we didn't need. Now trying to hold it right around the outside of Harrington, which will then turn to the inside, much like Rossi just did on Hulkenberg in the previous lap. I mean, he made a move to stick there up the inside of Harrington. But now we have to try and chase down Sebastian Buemi once again, as now Harrington has lost 2 positions there, 1 straight, pretty much showing the straight line speed deficit from Honda to BMW. Now we really need to chase down Sebastian Buemi and try and put one over him once again, and try and pretty much secure our championship hopes. Because Buemi now Buemi, I just got free rein now to try and overtake the 2 cars in front, which Harrington of course couldn't do due to the lack of power from his Honda power unit. See, Buemi is already pulling away from us there and catching onto the back now of Nico Hulkenberg and Alex Rossi in the Haas as well. And then if it does clear them, then we might actually be able to go in the final for top 3. Hopefully we can use Buemi as pretty much a kind of a shield to get our way through this pack of cars and then try and catch up to the top 3, which I don't even know who the top 3 are. They're just gone in this race. We pretty much haven't seen them from the start. And he's definitely not Daniel Kvyat after his engine failure, so I don't even know who else is really at the front of the field. I mean, I don't know where Fernando Alonso is in this race. I mean, we've seen he was in front of Sebastian Buemi, but I don't know whereabouts he's come out now after he make his final start. I don't even know what tyres Alonso's on. Now coming up now down the back straight, we will have DRS on the back with Sebastian Buemi to try and make an overtake in there. I don't think Buemi has DRS off the car in front. But now we're gaining in the DRS right on the back of our teammate. But are we gaining enough now to try and make a move coming down this turn 1? We're gaining essentially, but now very much just evened out there, 200 miles an hour. Just couldn't get any more straight line speed out of the car. So maybe we have an engine problem. Is our engine just a bit over 1? Just couldn't get any more than 200 miles an hour out of it. Now looking back at Jean-Eric Vergne in the second of the Red Bulls. Vergne, this is how far back Vergne is in this race. You just absolutely know, and there's engine failure for Jean-Eric Vergne, and that pretty much explains why he was so far back, going so slowly. It's a double engine retirements for Red Bull. And now, could that be the last nail in the coffin? There's been rumours that Red Bull want to switch engines next season and don't want to continue their partnership with Renault, and that could be the last nail in the coffin. Now we run out wide there, 3 seconds to last corner. That gives Harrington a move there up the inside. Now going side by side with the Indonesian corner. Now we have the racing line, but Harrington has a better traction out of the corner, and Harrington managed to re-overtake us there. There's a potential costly mistake there that we've made coming through the second to last corner. Now trying to move up the side of Harrington once again, we're just not close enough to the back of the Indonesian driver to try and make a move up the inside there of Harrington. Now we have to stick behind him once again through the S sector. I mean, through the S sector, we're pretty much one of the fastest cars if we can get the line right. And I have to stay behind Harrington here through the S sector. See Harrington there, taking out our line there. Taking a bit of a tight line there. So, I mean, he spent the last lap pretty much observing how we drive, and now he's just trying it out himself, pretty much like we've seen Max Verstappen do in the real life Grand Prix, just trying different lines everywhere to find something that works. And now then coming up now into the hairpin, of course can't make a move there because yellow flags for Jean-Eric Vergne's retired car, which now looks like he's just been cleared there from the side of the track. So now we try and get on the back of Harrington once again to try and get back up into P7, and it is Romain Grosjean behind us, so that confirms that Alex Rossi is the car there, is the Haas in front of us. Now Buemi trying to make a move there to the inside of Nico Hulkenberg, now coming down the back straight. Of course it should be an easy fight there for Sebastian Buemi. He's going to pull to the inside on the braking. Hulkenberg going to try and hold it right around the outside, is he? He's going to try around the side, but we just get squeezed out there, so now Buemi moves up another position and now can try and chase down Alex Rossi in the Haas to try and spoil the Americans' party. We've seen Rossi in his home race, we've seen what we did to defend at Singapore, and Rossi in his home race, but at Singapore it's a completely different track here to Kota, so he's going to have a pretty much harder time there to try and fend off Sebastian Buemi. He's only got 4 laps now to try and fend off from our teammate, so it's possible if you can just have that engine turned up in rich mix for the rest of the race. It depends if you've got any rich mix left to use. Now we've got Harrington getting right on the back now off Nico Hulkenberg, but Hulkenberg will still have DRS just about off the back of Sebastian Buemi, so any move shouldn't really be a move here coming up to turn 1, unless Harrington gets a mega run there at the final corner, because he's gaining in the slipstream on the back of Nico Hulkenberg, but coming into turn 1 he's just not close enough once again, and we just have to stick behind the pair of them for a bit longer. Also, another thing I've just noticed is that Hulkenberg's actually on soft tyres. Now we've got Stroll trying to make that up the inside of the Toro Rosso and makes a contact there between the Sauber and one of the Manners, and the Manning gets a terrible exit there. He's going to drop down 2 positions behind there Will Stevens and the second of the Ferraris. And now just a terrible exit there for Lance Stroll in the man. He tried to make a move there up the inside of the Sauber, didn't work out and just lost all his momentum. So rookie error there. I mean, rookie error. This is only still only his 5th race in Formula 1, 4th if we don't count Belgium. I mean, he lasted all of one sector. Still, it's only his 5th race in Formula 1, so he'll still be forgiven for making a few mistakes for now. We're trying to make a move now to the inside of Rio Harrington, who will be getting slowly now off the back of Nico Hülkenberg once again now. It's Harrington close up, trying to make a move on the back of Nico Hülkenberg. We're going to try and go around the outside now of Nico Hülkenberg. We're going to break him, trying to make a 3-1, and we think better of it, stick behind them. Now Harrington trying to make a move right around the outside of Hülkenberg, to then turn to the inside now, coming up into the 3rd sector, and makes a move stick there up the inside of Nico Hülkenberg. Now Hülkenberg's slowly starting to drop back down through the field. So next up is our time to try and overtake the Renault of Nico Hülkenberg. Seeing that Renault they're steadily improving, but we'll have to wait to see. Have to wait till next year's car to see what they can do. They're pretty much using this season pretty much as a development season for next year's car, because with all new regulation changes coming in for next season, it makes sense for them not to go all out on this car. Looking around the final corner, we now have DRS on the back of Nico Hülkenberg. Hülkenberg will still have DRS on the back of Rio Harrington, but are we close enough? Have we gone to straight line speed in our BMW power unit, trying to move to the inside of Hülkenberg? But no, we haven't gone to straight line speed, and we have to stick behind Hülkenberg once again. Now we can move to the inside. Hülkenberg runs out wide there, so we make a move there up inside of Nico Hülkenberg. It's a terrible exit there through turn 1 to Hülkenberg, once again making a round mistake, much like Fernando Alonso did at the start of the Grand Prix. Now cutting a bit further on and goes past Sebastian Vettel, making a move up the inside of one of the Toro Rossos. So it must have been the Toro Rossos up there in 2-3. Managed to make the move there. I think that was Max Verstappen. There's Verstappen, and we've got Alex Rossi still trying to defend now from Rio Harrington in the McLaren. And then Sales behind us, so Rio Harrington hasn't got much time left to try and make an overtake. Only got 1 lap left in this race if he wants to try and take 5th position from the American driver. We've only got 1 lap to try and make anything happen if we try and get past Harrington once again. And now Sebastian Buemi has 1 lap left to go to try and overtake Carlos Sainz, so what will be a brilliant P2 starting from the back after being 21st at the end of the 1st lap. Now coming on the final lap is Harrington close enough to try and make a move on the back of Alex Rossi going to turn 1, so he's gaining in the slow stream, but Rossi will still have DRS off the back of the Toro Rosso in front, just about. And according to turn 1, we all remain line of stern once again. There's just no way we can do to try and make an overtake. So they're going to be good there to the first corner. Once again, it just comes to nothing with that McLaren downforce, just enough to keep it ahead of us. Now going through the S section once again, we're just going to stick behind Rio Harrington through the sector. There's no way we can make a move. Now we've got Hülkenberg as still behind us, so Grosjean hasn't managed to catch up to the back of Nico Hülkenberg yet. Coming up through the S sector. You can see they're on a mini up. He's still got quite a bit of a gap, so Hülkenberg, if he's lucky, should be safe there in P8. Now we've got 1 straight remaining to try and make anything happen, to try and get past Rio Harrington. But Alex Rossi is now right on the back of Max Verstappen in the Toro Rosso, so now could Rossi try and take 4th in this race? Now Rossi will have DRS now in the slipstream on the back of the Toro Rosso. Now Rossi gaining in the slipstream. Is he getting enough to try and make a move? He's going to try and pull to the inside. Max Verstappen's tyres must be dead completely dead after trying the 1 stop. He's going to try and make a move to the inside. Verstappen's going to try and hold it right around the outside line, is he? Just about keeps his nose in there. Rossi has to leave in the room there up the inside. Verstappen there dives it up the inside. Now Rossi can try and hold it right around the outside, much like he did to Nico Hülkenberg a few laps ago. And we have to move to the inside there of Rio Harrington, catching napping and try and make a move there up the inside. Now can try and hold it right around the outside, which will be on the racing line for us. And Harrington try and hold it right around the outside. Now we got the inside line, can try and force the Indonesian driver out wide. We make the move stick there on Rio Harrington, trying to finally get past him there on the final lap and make a stick. Now we need a good exit here around the final corner to not give Harrington once again another chance to try and overtake us. And we do, we make the move stick there. And Fernando Alonso has won the Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso has gone from last to first in 24 laps to win the Grand Prix. And for us, it's a pretty mediocre finish, pretty mediocre P6, but Fernando Alonso has gone from last to first there to win the US Grand Prix. They can see Toto Wolff looking very happy, and I'm not surprised there. Fernando, in 24 laps, has overtaken absolutely everyone on the grid to take a well-deserved victory for the US Grand Prix, and it's his 36th career victory, and was also his 3rd victory of this season. Pretty much shows if Mercedes just had a bit more at the start of the season, Fernando Alonso really could have been a title contender. Taking a look at the race results, Fernando Alonso would come from 22nd to win the Grand Prix in dominant fashion, 10 seconds clear of Carlos Sainz, who comes from 15th, making the 1-stop work to finish 2nd. The teammate Sebastian Buemi came from 21st to finish in 3rd and complete the podium. Alex Rossi coming in 4th in front of the home crowd for Haas, is Max Verstappen dropping down to 5th after his one stop, after failing to make the one stop really work. We come home in 6th, just behind the Dutchman, with Rui Haryanto dropping down to 7th for McLaren. Nico Hülkenberg coming home in 8th for Renault, with Grosjean in 9th in the Haas. Sebastian Vettel leads Ferrari down in 10th, with Will Stevens dropping down to P11, and Pascal Wehrlein in the Manor will round off the point scorers in 12th, and Wehrlein taking a very crucial point for Manor. Moving on to the driver standings, and now we only have a 15-point lead over our teammate Sebastian Buemi, with 2 races remaining, and Fernando Alonso now jumps all the way up now into P3 with that race victory, and also helped by the Red Bull double DNF, so now Verne and Kvyat move down to 4th and 5th. Sebastian Vettel is now 15 points clear of his teammates and 110 points to Hamilton's 95, and Haryanto now moves ahead of Valtteri Bottas for P8, joint on points, but on virtue of better result, with Haryanto taking a 2nd place finish in Germany and Bottas's best finish only being a 3rd. Haryanto now moves up into 8th, demoting the Finn down to 9th. And we've seen that's been a long time coming for this season. Haryanto finally has moved ahead of Valtteri Bottas. Carlos Sainz now jumps up into 10th on 55 points. Verstappen now moves up into 11th on 48, and Alex Rossi rounds off the top 12 for Haas on 45 points. And now in the Constructors standings, BMW Williams are now your Constructors champions, and Williams take their first championship since 1997. 20 years almost since they won their last championship. And now Red Bull look pretty secure in 2nd, 60 points clear of Mercedes, and Mercedes are now 23 points clear of Ferrari in 4th. McLaren Honda are in 5th on 13, 10 points clear only now of Toro Rosso, who are in 6th, and Haas now moved back up into 7th, albeit not overtaking the team that they're expecting, but they'll still get back up into 7th, which is what the team are wanting for the end of the season. And Force India now dropped all the way down to 8th on 82 points. Renault are in 9th on 58 points, Manor in 10th on 13, and Sauber in 11th on 5, and they need an absolute miracle if they're to take 10th in the Constructors before the end of the season. So my driver of the day for this race, it has to be Fernando Alonso. Alonso going from last to first. We didn't even see him the entirety of the race, didn't see any of his overtakes really, except when you're trying to get past Sergio Perez. Just quietly going about his business, making the effective one-stop work from the back of the grid, and just has the pace to get past everyone. But definitely Alonso would be my driver of the day vote for this race. So that's been the US Grand Prix. Thanks for watching. Remember to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and vote for your driver of the day with the poll link that will be in the second line of the video description. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.